And the final interactive is this. The fanfare trumpeters of the lifeguards, the Bills or Regiment, sadly are summoned in 6, they can make it. Rapidly ready, girls are they're causing chaos and celebrating. So I'm ready to go down to you. In time and fashion, I want us to count down from 10 to 1. Are you up for it? Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my second model train review. And this time I'm going to review a train which I know you probably might recognise, and you might have guessed it from the box here. And this locomotive here is really one of my most favouriteest. And you can see on the box here, it's a Hornby locomotive, and it's a special edition produced for the National Railway Museum, and it is Flying Scotsman, the world's most famous steam locomotive of all time. And it's a Class A3 Pacific in its Wartime Black Livery. And if we look over here on the box, its product code is R3080, and it says special edition on here. And you can see she's a 462 Pacific. She's got 4 wheels in the front, 6 wheels in the middle that are the driving wheels, and 2 wheels at the back. Before we move on to the locomotive, let's have a look at the box. You can see there's a nameplate on top of the box, 4472 on it, which is that LNR number. Now let's turn it over the side and see what it says here. It says, a beacon of modern achievement. Flying Scotsman represents a golden age of British ingenuity and evokes the glamour, elegance and romance of the Art Deco period. The locomotive was acquired by the National Railway Museum in 2004 and forms part of the National Collection. I'll explain more about that after I finish this. In 1928, Flying Scotsman was the first steam locomotive to travel non-stop from London to Edinburgh, and the first to break the 100 miles per hour speed barrier. The engine and its exhibition, the Flying Scotsman story, provide a unique reflection of our social and cultural heritage, offering both museum visitors and travellers an unrivaled opportunity to experience the power and the passion of this legendary locomotive. Now, anyway, what the Railway Museum did in 2004 was, well, when they heard that this engine was put up for sale on the news, we were fearing that the locomotive might be shipped to the USA or Japan, and therefore the museum decided to raise an appeal to acquire that for the nation. And anyway, nowadays she can currently be seen at the National Railway Museum in York, which is a nice place to see it. Anyway, in my notes here, it says like DCC ready, but I haven't really DCC'd her. And anyway, let's get on to the detail of this exquisite loco model. I mean, really, just look at this model. Wow, isn't she well amazing? I mean, just look at the detail on this. You can tell it's it's in its Wartime Black Livery. This is what she looked like at the preview weekend, as you may remember, in 2011. I also remember seeing that with unveiling as well. If you look around the workers' plate on the smoke box, if we could just zoom in here. Oh, I actually went into a no focus area. Here we go. If we move up closer there, it says here, it's London North Eastern Railway, Doncaster, built in 1923. Yeah, she was built in 1923. That was from I was like merging with the big 4 companies. I mean, just have a look at the front of this. I remember seeing that at the unveiling in the preview weekend, and also at the unveiling, I took a picture taken. I was standing like right here when it was on the turntable. And if we look on here, some lamp irons here. Yeah, we always have to mention, sprung buffers. You can hear it's got number 502, Class A3, York. And it's got number 502 here, not 4472, because that was a number when she had with the LNR. think this is like the time machine has during World War II. And if we go on to the other side, you can see 502 here on the cab. And if we go on the other side, it's got 103 on it. That was during the last years of the LNR. And there's her name, Flying Scotsman. And you can see here, there's a banjo dome here. You might probably find on other steam engines, like, for example, Green Arrow, and the new build steam engine Tornado. And it's got double chimney here. I really like the double chimney. And there's some safety valves here. And there's a whistle. I remember seeing it on Scotsman. And also what comes with this model is ta-da! These optional smoke deflectors here. You might put on the engine, or you probably might fit them with super glue. Whereas I've tried fitting them on before with like blue tack, and it somehow works, but sometimes they fall off. And also what comes here is this flanged wheel here. You can put on the wheel and replace the flangeless wheel. Well, if you basically want to put this model on display, you can do. But if you've got like train set curves, I don't recommend this one, because it would just keep derailing. And also what comes is these are like what they call the air brakes. This is what Flying Scotsman needs to have when she's running on the main line. Well, you can find them air brakes on other steam engines on the main line, like for example the A4s. And let's see, how about I might find them on sometimes on Black 5s. And probably that sort of stuff. If anybody knows much more about air brakes than I do, please let me know. And also, you can see here, it's got the National Railway Museum headboard. This is actually from my other Flying Scotsman model that was released in 2004. Remember, if we put it on there, and there, just look at that. It's like I remember seeing that at the Railfest in 2004. I remember on the news clip she had that when she was doing the runs from York to Scarborough. So you may well remember that going on it. I'll explain more about that when I'm doing the apple green one. Well, let's get rid of the headboard for the time being. Also, we forgot to mention, there's a little certificate here. Seeing this is a special edition model, and they always like giving you certificates. Anyway, mine is number 384, and we're looking up from there. It's a National Railway Museum. It's got Steve Davis, who was the director of the Railway Museum, and Andrew Scott from 1994 to 2009. I mean, you know Andrew Scott, who was the director of the museum. I mean, he was the director when the museum acquired Flying Scotsman for the nation. Anyway, let's look at the paragraphs here. It says here, this is to certify that the special edition model of Flying Scotsman is one of only 500 exclusively produced for the National Railway Museum. This model in wartime LNR Black Livery has been produced to commemorate the completion of Flying Scotsman's return to steam in 2011. All proceeds will help towards the ongoing cost of Flying Scotsman and care for the National Collection. Yeah, they were originally going to do this in 2011, but unfortunately there were major delays to the restoration. As I'll explain when we look at the locomotive here. As you can see, the reason for the delay is, well, if we look over here to the lower half of the locomotive, as you can see over here, that there is where the problems began to emerge. As well, because back in July 2011, the workshop team at Bury discovered cracks in the horn blocks, and there's other problems that need to be addressed, like they discovered more cracks in the frame structures. Now they have to be addressed before she's going to start running on the main line. Otherwise, I'll break the health and safety regulations known to man. Anyway, I'm pretty sure she will be back on the tracks. But I'll explain more about that when I'm doing the apple green model, which I've also got. By the way, I reserved both of them, these models, for my dad when we were unveiling. We picked both of them up in October. Anyway, enough chit chat. Let's move on to have a look at the cab. As you can see here, the cab is extremely nice. As you can see the firebox there, which is to shovel coal in. You see there's a reverser gear, and there's like the regulators which provide speed for the locomotive. And there's like the windows for the driver to look out. Also, I forgot to mention the double chimney here on this model is from when she was modified during the British Railways, and she didn't have smoke deflectors during Wartime Black. Well, you see, what British Railways did was, well, because there was smoke from the double chimney, it was well hard for the driver to see what was going on ahead, and well, therefore they had to put the smoke deflectors on to improve the driver's vision, which the smoke deflectors are German designed. I'm pretty sure enough about that. Also, what comes with this model is there's this unusual thing as well. There's this plug here. I think that's because instead we no longer have to put your DCC chip in there. We can put this in a tender. I think I don't actually have DCC. Let's have a look at the tender. See where. Now this is where it goes in here. The chip here. Well, you really have to do this before you put it on the track, otherwise that'll be well hard to do. Anyway, enough of that locomotive, let's get on to the tender. Now the tender here is extremely nice. As you can see here, it's got a bit of zoom in here. It's got 5,000 gallons of water. Look, there's a door, at least, to the corridor tender there. The corridor connection on the back of the tender. And there's an E on it instead of L in the front and R at the end, because this is like during the Second World War. That. And if we look on the back, there's a corridor connection here on the tender, on the back of the tender, I should say. Well, Flying Scotsman had the tender like that when she was doing the non-stop run from London to Edinburgh in 1928. So you made a mention on the box. And also you can see that little window there. And if we look on the top of the tender, you can see coal here. And this is where you basically walk from the carriages of a train to the locomotive. Well, I find it was good about Nigel Gresley, who was the chief engineer of the LNR. Well, he basically got the idea of a corridor tender when he lined up his dining chairs at home, and he was figuring out how to walk through the passageways from the carriages to the locomotive. Now, I believe the coal here is removable, but it's not worth putting it on not worth doing it right now. And this is where the water goes in. I think, well, when the steam engine runs on the main line, they have to provide water, but without it they won't run. Anyway, there's a little NEM coupling right there, and also there's sprung buffers on it as well. Anyway, let's put the tender back on. Here. Also, I forgot to mention that the cab loops here do open. Let's try that. Yep, they do open, seeing this is a special edition one. Well, normally they say you really can't have everything on these type of models. And I forgot to mention there's a vacuum pipe there. So that when it's pulling the train, with carriages, the pipe here has to connect to the carriages, but if they're not connected, they won't simply work. But if the locomotive is running on its own, then it's quite alright. You just gotta love this famous locomotive here. I'll just put it up right there for you all to admire. Isn't she amazing? One of my favourite locomotives. Anyway, enough of this review. Now probably gonna see what we're doing next. Yep, here we are again with Flying Scotsman here on the tracks. And this time we're going to see how she runs. Now believe me, a model like this is really fiddly to deal with. Well, because you can see here, I coupled the wire to the tender. If you do that, it means you need to use both hands and be very careful about putting it on the track. The only thing that helps me do it is this thing here. You can also use this to put a wire to the connect the wire to the tender. You can also use it to plug it out whenever you're done using the model. And also, I got this baby here, like a little foam thing that I remember seeing a Monk Bar like similar to one I've seen in a Monk Bar model shop, and I bought the other A3 Brown Jack. Well, we know Brown Jack. It's basically the same engine as this one, except it's all in the different Brunswick green. Now let's see how she performs. I should say. This one hasn't been running before, so I'm just testing it. Now see how she looks like on backwards. Isn't she amazing running in black? Now let's see how... Turn the camera moving. Turn in the slow speed. Oops. I think that's what she would have done on a test run in 2011. Before being painted into apple green livery. Okay, I'm just going to stop there for a minute and give you a closer look at the engine. Just look at that. That's why you should have seen them when she was doing a test run. Isn't she amazing? It's a wonderful engine to see. I think I would love to see this engine running on the rails again at some point. I'm not really sure what the railway museum is going to do to it. But only time will tell when that deadline is achieved. Anyway, let's give it a final run through. Oops, the bogey just came off. Probably should have put the buffer beams on and stop the engine from crashing or derailing. Well, let's give it a final run back. Let's turn the slower speed. Let me just look at how nice it is when it's running. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough of the review of the Black Flying Scotsman, and I will see you next time.